Hey all. Are we on the same the kind, same page? Are y'all still Oh, or are y'all still on the other thing? Go to the new one. Oh gosh, I gotta get some help here. Cause it looks like I goofed up, which isn't unusual. Ah, oh, there you all are. Hello, I was trying to send a message to Johnny because he's so good at these things, and I don't know what happened. My screen, I did something with the mouse with the pad, and the screen got all big, and I didn't know how to reduce it. Oh, it's just a bunch of user error. Hello to every one of you who have come to join me this afternoon. We are at the top of another week, and I hope everyone had a great weekend. I launched a Mary Kay business on Saturday. We had an official launch. It took a lot of arm twisting because I really wasn't interested in becoming a Mary Kay rep. But a friend convinced me that I might be good at it, so I just think I'll give it a shot. Hello to Michael Dowell and Lisa Sheehan and Red Lentil Healing. Red Lentil Healing. Can we somehow get to the other link to tell them to come on this link? Adrian, Kate Sweet Blue, Larry Girl, Sharon Granger, Kesha Harris, Cappy's mom. Oh, there's Johnny. He says you got to buy him some Mary Kay. Actually, they do have a men's line, but their skincare line is really fabulous. So anybody can use it. To Nenny Isaacs and all of you, I just thought I'd come on and have a chat. We're here. We made it to another week. How about that? I hope that your weekend was great. That you all found uh, something that brought you some joy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about delayed joy. Look what I got today. Can you see that? Yay! I'm going to learn how to read the tarot. So I have my first deck, the Rider Tarot deck. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, so that'll be something that will keep me occupied. My morning began with a big bang. I have a neighbor who lives a few doors down who has dementia. She's a young woman, I think, in her mid 50s. She lives there with her daughter, who's about 21 years old, and who, bless her heart, is working two jobs, one at Dunkin' Donuts and one at Taco Bell, to keep a roof over their heads and keep some food coming in. She's a sweet, sweet child. And about 2 weeks ago, Miss Sandra went on a walkabout and was gone all night. And of course, her daughter was really, really upset. And I'd seen her the night before, but I didn't know that she hadn't returned to her room. So her daughter was really, really uptight and wanted to find her mother. And she was gone overnight. The next day, she did show up. But this morning, my neighbor and I saw her walking by again as if she were going to go on a walkabout, which she did. But she had first gone and sat on the ground. We live near a major street called Holcomb Bridge. And she sat there and watched the cars. So we felt pretty comforted that as long as we could keep her within eyesight, that she would be okay, and that perhaps we could go over and talk with her and convince her to come back. Well, she got up and she walked away from that spot and walked and walked and walked to the point where my neighbor, who left the property to see if she could see her, and she was sitting on the median at a very dangerous spot. There's a major highway between North and North Fulton County called the 400, and she was sitting on the median near that on-ramp, and that is a very, very dangerous place to be on a good day, let alone when your mind is challenged. So we called the police because we didn't. First of all, I got on my telephone and asked my prayer warriors to pray for her safety, that the Creator, infinite wisdom, would set his angels round about her to keep her safe from all hurt, harm, or danger. And she was eventually found by the police sitting in front of Bank of America, and they called because she was sitting on the grass in front of the Bank of America, and they called the police because I guess that, they obviously didn't know what she was up to. Long story short, we spent our time searching for her, and we have not been successful. We finally saw her daughter coming back from work and alerted her. So now we have her daughter's name. Her name is Jade. We have her telephone number. And a friend of mine who is a mental health expert who works within that division for the Veterans Administration sent me a telephone number and told me to tell Jade to make some phone calls because she can get some help, some resources and some help, because really, I can understand why she would want to get out of the room. I often have to go out and take a walk around the complex or out and down the street or something in order to not feel as if the walls are closing in on me. So I totally understand it, but we are praying for Miss Sandra because she's not back. We don't know where she is. We're just praying that she will find her way home, and that she will come back to us safely. So that was my morning. I hope that y'all's morning began with a little less, ooh, a little less damn, that you were able to wake up and get started in a pleasant way. When I was in meditation this morning, I also want you to know that after we do these things, these lives or Petty Party, I go back to the chat section and I write down everyone's name and I pray for each of you, because first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming to join us on Petty Party. Our next one will be this Saturday coming. We are going to go live. Let me get the date on Saturday. It looks like it'll be Saturday, October 3rd. Yay! We'll be celebrating Librans. Adrian from Red Lentil Healing is a Libra. October 14th. I'm October 9th. So we're gonna be celebrating the Librans. So anybody who's a Libra, let me know in the comments So we'll go live on October 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. For those of you who might want to come join in the fun, we do discuss politics, we discuss music, pop culture, and faith. I am not a religious person. I gave up religion many moons ago. Actually, as a child, some of the things I was hearing in church didn't make sense to me. So at about 4 or 5, I started asking difficult questions and pretty much demanded the answers. You know, I didn't want anybody to blow me off. Let me see if I can get a little better light here. I didn't want anyone to blow me off with that whole, you don't understand what you're asking, or just, how we as adults may try to talk to children when they ask you a question that A, you don't have an answer to, or B, which might be delving into areas you don't think they're supposed to know anything about. So I'm not in with religion. I do not vilify anybody's way of worship or giving thanks. I don't indulge in that because I know, and was confirmed by Emmett Fox when he broke down the Lord's Prayer into the 7 sections of that prayer, that when Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus, uttered the words, "Our Father," he included everyone. He left no one out. He established the relationship between a father and a child. I will often refer to God as God, infinite wisdom, infinite creator, infinite love, because that's how I do it. I'm well aware that there is some force, something much greater outside of me. And I am very thankful that that greatness is within me as well. It's within all of us. With every life-giving breath we take, we breathe in the good. We breathe in the Lord, the law. We breathe in the Holy Spirit. In Genesis, when it speaks of God giving breath to Adam, in Hebrew, it speaks of his spirit, that he breathed his spirit in us. And so with each breath we take, we breathe in that beautiful, loving, merciful, compassionate spirit. And I like to think that everyone that comes on here understands that you are an ambassador of light, that we are charged, that you make an agreement. In a sidebar, if you haven't had an opportunity to listen to the 4 agreements, I would greatly encourage you to do so. We make agreements before we come here, and it's almost like we enter into a contract and say, okay, this is what my mission is. And we all have something that we are called to do. Sometimes it takes you a little while to recognize what it is. Sometimes you get on and you recognize it right away. For me, it was always music, and I always loved reading the Bible. I learned to read very early. By 5, I could read the Bible and the newspaper because I wanted to know what fascinated my father when he would pick up a newspaper with those little tiny black things on it, those little letters. I wanted to know what they said. So he was very patient with me, and I could read and write. I knew quite a bit by the time I got to 1st grade, which was a bit nerve-wracking for teachers, because at that time, as is this time, Black children weren't expected to know. I guess no child was expected to know as much as I did, but particularly Black children, for some reason that we still haven't figured out. There was a difference between me and any white girl or boy the same age. And I was later designated as a brilliant Black student, which made no sense to me or to my mother. She was the secretary of the first NAACP in the state of Nevada. There's an argument about where the first one actually started, but I do recall that that was the history of the NAACP in our state. So thank God for a warrior mom. I was often sent home with those dreaded sealed envelopes. You know, we weren't supposed to open them. We didn't know what they were for. And at one point they were sending notes home because they wanted me to be tested. And my mother was just adamant, like, testing her for what? You know, I mean, what are you looking for? So needless to say, that test never went forth. But back to my original point, for me, it was music. I just understood it. I always loved it. I didn't always want to sing. I wanted to blow a baritone sax because I was so impressed by the beauty of that horn. It was much bigger than I was at the time. When my mother came to me and she was crying because they weren't able to purchase the horn. They would have had, I'm being reconnected. My connection is unstable. So it says, please wait while we try reconnecting. Okay, there I am. She cried because they weren't in a position to be able to afford the horn. And what I later found out, and which is something that we will be discussing on Petty Party on this Saturday night, is that my parents would have had to put up their home in order for me to have that horn, even though they had great credit. My father worked for the federal government and worked very hard. My mother had her own business. But because of the way redlining and just the way loan structures were then and are now, since the toxic toupee has come in and reversed that executive order, Black people were not able to secure loans for businesses, or a horn that might have been at that time $1,500 to $2,000, and you have to put up a home valued at $50,000 or $60,000. It was ridiculous. But it was on that day my mother convinced me to join the chorus, and I remember that walk to the chorale room. I was so not with it, but I excelled in chorus, and actually had a little singing group, and we won some awards when there were state competitions. My group would actually brought home some, what do you call them? Those worthless statues. Well, anyway, we actually got some championships. And so I just kind of latched on to it. And I love music. I love singing. And I've had a great deal of success at it because I've been blessed to sing with some very iconic jazz, rock and roll artists. And if I were to call out some of the names, you would know those people. It has blessed me with being able to travel the world and enjoy other cultures. And it's just, music has really been a blessing. And for me, it's a comforter whenever I feel myself getting really stressed, or whenever I feel myself about ready to go over the edge, or, you know how it is. You can be cruising right along and something will come, and it might be a pebble in spirit, but to us in the natural, it looks like a boulder. And then we get freaked out. Music is always my comforter. So in the mornings, I really like to listen to Pharrell's Happy. I think that is such a cute song. And I see some people saying they wish they could sing. You can sing. Music is literally just noise. It's just, and if you listen to the very distinctive voices of some of the rock people, and I love distinctive voices. I got so tickled when Macy Gray came around because she had her own style. She didn't take it all that seriously. When I was listening to people like Ella Fitzgerald, I always was drawn to jazz because that's what I was hearing in my father's house. My mother and father played, so I was aware of Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Gloria Lynn, Nancy Wilson, Ernestine Anderson, and some of the real jazz great vocalists, Anita O'Day and a few others. I really, really connected with Sarah Vaughan and have oftentimes been told that my chops sound a lot like her. At least I know that some of my phrasing and some of my tonality may have come because she's a big influence on me. Happy is a great tune to get the morning started. Or I like listening to Bill Withers' A Lovely Day. There's a mix of it that has been updated and upgraded. So I mean, it swings. It gets you in the mood in the morning. So that's what brings me joy, and that brings me back to speaking about delayed joy. I remember when I lost a job. Well, that's putting it nicely. My ass was fired because I was having issues with the office manager. I simply wasn't submissive enough for her. You know, she was from Virginia and had black maids and whatnot. So I guess she thought all of us were supposed to submit to her. And I thought she was just a mean old woman. And I'm not that chick anyway. You know, I figure I'm in the South. I don't know what to expect from a white person. And so my defenses were up. You know, it's like I don't do well with any kind of condescending talk or to me, and please don't go to the humiliation bit. You know, then my evil twin Jazz jumps out. So I didn't know, all I knew was I'd never been fired before. I didn't even realize that I could file for unemployment, which I eventually did. But I remember I got so intense looking for another job. And here in Georgia, when during the Bush era, our unemployment rate in the state had pretty much surpassed the national unemployment rate. It was really bad here. Law firms were laying off women who had been at their firm for many years and then turning right back around and hiring younger, less experienced people, I might add. But this was my first adventure into being fired. So all I could think about was, oh God, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I became so intense that I got really dark. I just wasn't any fun at all. You know, the only time I would get out, and my saving grace was that I had a pretty little Yorkie who had quite a fan base in Midtown Atlanta, and I would walk her, and just being able to get out, that would kind of help me lighten up a little bit. But there was always this thing in the back, I gotta get a job, so that I could never go anywhere and really relax. And then one day, it was like that overnight thing where I woke up and I said, why do I feel like I don't deserve to be happy? And why have I allowed myself to become joyless because I was fired from a job I didn't like any damn way? You know, why was I doing that to myself? And it was kind of at that moment that I made up my mind that from that day forth, I would always find joy in the day, no matter what might be going on with me, no matter what the situation may be, that I'm going to find a reason to be happy, to be filled with joy, and be filled with joy now. And when I speak about delayed joy, I think about the number of people who work very, very hard. They go out and they work very, very hard, and they say, I will relax, I will have joy when. I would have some joy if. I will have some joy, but. You work, and you save money for a vacation, and then you go on your vacation, and you probably don't spend a lot of time even enjoying the vacation, because you're thinking that maybe you should have kept some of the vacation money to pay a bill back home or something like that. And I just want to stress just what a shame and what a tragedy that is, for us to allow ourselves to be robbed of the joy today, the joy right now, the joy that I'm getting from being live with those of you who join me. What a tragedy that we put off our own joy for another day. We put off our happiness for another day, when we don't even know what tomorrow's gonna bring. In the Bible it says, don't be worried about, see how beautiful the lilies and the flowers are, and they don't toil and stress about any of that. And how much more does God think of us? Think about what's happening with you now, because tomorrow's troubles are sufficient unto the day. Many of us wake up in the morning living in the past. And what I mean by that is, you wake up in the morning, the first thing that's on your mind is what you didn't get done from yesterday. And that can be kind of a difficult habit to shake, So instead of me thinking about what I didn't get done yesterday, I just start a new list. Because you don't want to wake up living in the past. Who wants to, you can't drive a car safely looking in the rear view mirror, just like you can't do anything about even the past few moments that have gone by. So I am encouraging all of you, I find joy when I see a happy baby, or a dog that comes up and wants to sniff me and get to know me, or my birds that are across the street, my crows and my birds that wait for me to bring them bread, and nuts and whatever else I might be feeding them. The joy that I get when you give a smile and you receive a smile. You don't know how different your day will be if you wake up and make the decision that today is a wonderful day, and something wonderful and miraculous is going to happen to me and for me today, and I am filled with joy. I go forth in joy. As light bearers, that is what we are to do, to make our light shine brightly in the darkness. The first verse of Isaiah 60 says, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord, the law, is risen upon you. For gross darkness shall cover the people, but the glory of the Lord is risen upon you." So we walk in glory, we walk in power, we walk in the light, because in St. John, Jesus says that not only does he breathe the Spirit into us, he breathes the light into us. So we are light bearers. And over the weekend, I was talking to Adrienne, and she asked me a very interesting question. And it was something like, do you think we're giving too much attention to Trump? And I had to think about it just for a moment, because she pretty much had spoken something that I've been thinking about for quite a while. We know that our thoughts and our words are very powerful. And at some point, we're going to discuss just how powerful your words are. But we have spent I remember the first 2 years, I was just pissed off. And I was firing off tweets to this guy. I was calling him all kinds of punk bitches, pussies. I was just vile to the man. And I was just angry. And I knew that I wasn't the only one that was angry. Once we came out of the shock that he had actually won, then we were angry because we knew from the very first time he sat down in that chair that he was going to try to run this country the way he's run his Trump organization. He's the CEO. All of us are the workers. We do what he says do, and that's end of. We know he doesn't care about laws because he's never abided by them. We know he don't give a shit about anybody else because he proves it every day. We know that he's going to do something totally fucked up because he does it every day. I can't remember the last time I didn't turn on the news and see on the Cryon breaking news every day. So knowing that, I've learned how to laugh. Okay. I've learned how to laugh. There are days when I totally unplug from the news. I'm thankful for the news. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful for the news. I don't care what anybody says, because without MSNBC and CNN, what I call righteous news stations, without that, we wouldn't know a damn thing, because he is not going to tell us anything. So I'm grateful for the Rachel Maddows and the Chris Hayes and the Joy Reids and Nicole Wallace's, those people who get, and to the reporters from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post. I'm thankful for those people giving us just a peek behind the veil of what's actually going on in this administration. We know this guy does things. He and the reptile, Melania, melanoma, the pimp. We all know that they get a kick out of doing what they do. They think it's riling the liberals. So they do shit on purpose. That jacket she wore, I don't care, do you? She knew exactly what she was doing. And that was probably the truest statement about her that she ever made. She doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks of her. And right now she's the first lady. And if I want to wear red bottoms and go down to the sick children at the border, even though they're in cages, I'm going to wear red bottoms and this jacket and watch those. And of course, when they show up, they don't take them to the horrible places where they're keeping these children. They take them to what I call the pretty parts and bring them up a little child. And, she pretends to actually give a shit. She might hold a baby. She might not. But we already know what he's going to do. Just when we think he's dug a hole and he's hit bottom, he digs 6 feet more. He knows that what he does is going to put all the attention on him. He's like a child who doesn't care what kind of attention it is. Any attention is good attention. So what we have to do is, first of all, if you get a chance, unplug. Go a whole day and don't watch anything with Trump in it. Don't do a damn thing, because what you know about it is that whatever he did today is going to be cycling into tomorrow anyway. And just do something, watch something else if you're a TV watcher. Watch something that will bring you some kicks and some giggles, something that'll make you laugh. If you like to read books, get a book, take a walk, before the weather gets too bad. Get out of this bubble. And we want for these last 4 years, people have, and I was one of them, we have been overwhelmed by, when is this motherfucker gonna leave? When is he gonna leave? And there were readers that we listened to who did their best to project dates, but life is fluid. Things are moving. So what they may have seen on that day, things are changing minute by minute. What they saw at that moment, the next moment changed the whole thing. I remember we were just hoping, now. Well, here we are. And you think you had a bad day, Daddy, if he wasn't sleeping before, he really isn't getting any rest now with all of this tax information that has been leaked. Okay? I want to know what he knows, because I want to know how you get a $79 million tax return. I haven't seen a tax return since the last century, since 1994. So anything I might get in taxes is just feeds the interest, because you get penalties and interest daily. I want to know how he managed to get $79 million in a tax return. He did stand before us and say, nobody knows taxes as well as I do. I have to say kudos, bro. I guess we don't. You haven't paid any in 10 years. Folks like us, they will find us, harass us, break us, garnish wages. They're going to get their money. But for him, like, damn, how did he do that? Michael Cohen told us he does what he has to do to get the money. And then when it's time to have to pay, he does what he has to do to not pay. But anyway, what I'm saying is that, don't delay your joy. Don't do that. Don't wait. Don't be a procrastinator and try to put off for tomorrow what you can just think you'll be happier tomorrow than you are today, than you are at this moment. Don't torture yourself. Don't do that. It's such a tragedy. We have focused on Trump wanting to know when and how could he do all of this and still be president? Why is he? We focus on him. Now is the time for us to take our collective thoughts and words and begin to rejoice in the victory that we see Biden and Harris having. We have to begin to speak power over them. We have to begin to send our loving thoughts and over them. We have, if you sense that Joe might not be feeling good today, we have to send healing light. That he's an older gent. He's probably got some things going on. We send some healing light to him that his body can keep up with what he's about to undertake. We have, for everything that we talk about that we don't want, there's the opposite side of that, so that we begin to focus on what we do want. Hi, Becca. We focus on what we do want. We want a Biden-Harris win. Yay! That's what we start talking about. We already know this clown is going to do something fucked up. That has been his MO the whole time he's been in office. And perhaps that right now we're like 39 days away from November the 3rd, voting day. Be proactive and not reactive. Confirm your registration and confirm the registration of people around you. Talk to your neighbors, making sure that they're registered to vote. Figure out how y'all can carpool. Take water, extra masks, gloves, snacks if you're going to get involved in a long line. Because the one thing I have been concerned about is how I know in Georgia they found a whole container full of absentee ballots. Now, wouldn't the irony be if all those absentee ballots were Republican absentee ballots? This man never stopped to think that maybe mail-in voting was going to affect his base as well. He never thought about that. So now he thinks that he's going to challenge the results and get the Supreme Court to make a decision, claiming that Glenn Kirshner talked about it so well last night, thinking that he's been a victim and of all of this cheating and all of this fraud and all of these illegal aliens voting and millions of, they try to say when he lost the popular vote that 3 million illegals had voted for Hillary. He simply cannot accept that people don't like your ass. And it's not just us in the United States, boo. Worldwide, people don't like you. The only people that like you are that little handful of folks that are willing to die for your ass. They're doing door knocking now with no masks. I wish a motherfucker would. Oh, I wish a motherfucker would. Now, what I've been doing, what I did all last week, and what I'm going to be doing shortly is I've been canvassing and phone banking for an independent polling company. And so they take money from whomever wants to pay for their services. And so a couple of days we had Republicans. And I'm pleased to say that on the conversations I had, I spoke to many Republicans who simply said they're voting for Biden. And it may not be because they love Biden. It's because they want Trump out of there, that as conservatives, they can't go along with some of the stuff he's done. I had one gentleman tell me he's insulted some very good people. Yeah, when you call people who put their lives on the line suckers and losers, they put their lives on the line to keep us safe, and you call them suckers and losers. He has to be the most miserable human being on the planet to not have known a loving touch from his father or from his mother, to not have known what it was like to be held by your mother and have her stroke your hair, or a father who might pat you on the back and say, a good job. And he's always projecting. He knows he's a sucker and a loser. He showed no courage, claiming he had bone spurs. He knows he's a coward. He knows he's a loser. He knows all the names that he calls other people. Now check this out. Don the Con came down here with his platinum con. He came down to Atlanta to speak to his blacks about his platinum economic plan for niggas. Oh, excuse me. Didn't mean to say that. It slipped out. Forgive me. For Negroes and the ones that follow him, I am not even going to take it back. That's who you are. Well, anyway, he came down here and he's rolled out this grand plan about getting businesses started, school choice, what he's going to put into the neighborhoods, all of this stuff. But you know where he went? He went to Cobb County. Now, anybody who's been to Atlanta knows, or even lived in the area knows, that Cobb County is a county where there are upper middle class, the very well-to-do white people. There are some black people that live out there. Cobb County is known not to be very brother-friendly. There are many black men that don't even want to be out there after dark because that's the way it is. He went to Cobb County to talk about his black economic plan. So an observer I actually got a call from a friend after, Adrian gets the news from here too. But a friend of mine called me up and I said, hey, you out in Cobb County? And she went on to say how pissed she was that because he was here, all the traffic was jacked up, and traffic in Atlanta is jacked up anyway. So anyway. So when he comes to town, it's even worse. And she said, I saw all of these white people in MAGA hats going to this, wherever it was being held. I said, well, that's where he's coming to talk about his plan for Black folks and how he's going to really prove that he's done more for us than Abraham Lincoln. And she started laughing. She said, I didn't see too many Black people out there. Though there are a handful of Black folks who probably did, they attended and they grinned and chinned and probably got their picture taken with them. I would imagine Angela Stanton King, she's not really a king. Dr. Martin Luther King would not be going along with this bullshit. But she seems to have hijacked the name because she's close to one of Dr. King's relatives, who I think she's bitter with her cousins, Dexter Martin III and Bernice. I think there might be a little family rift going on, but because at any rate, she has been making very toxic comments about Obama, and from all appearances seems to be a Trump supporter. And Angela Stanton King is running for John Lewis's seat in the House of Representatives. I pray she doesn't make it. I don't know that she stands a good chance because she really doesn't know anything. She just has some ideas. She thinks like Candace Owens thinks that if you talk over somebody, that you actually show yourself to be smarter. So she was probably there. Vernon Jones, another man who was a Democrat, who was the CEO of DeKalb County, the largest county in the state. They got his crooked ass out of office. I didn't even know he was still an office holder. Apparently, he's a representative in the state somewhere. Oh, he also abuses women. So, he and Trump have that alike. They don't know how to treat women. So they probably had a handful. And I want to say to my brothers and sisters who think that Democrats are slaves to the party, and that because they're Black, they don't have to be Democrats. They can be Republicans. I want you to know that none of us cares if you're Republican. Nobody gives a shit. We don't care. What is disappointing is that you don't seem to understand the difference between conservatism and Trumpism. That's a shame. And you want to call us slaves to the party? So yeah, you go back in history and the Southern Democrats was the slave owners, blah, blah. Yeah, that was then, this is now. The Republican Party over the years has not been very welcoming, nor have they even tried to persuade Black people to be part of the party. Look at Tim, his name, Tim Scott, the only Black Republican in the Senate. Come on now. They haven't courted us. They haven't done anything to get the vote. We're not trying to tell you how to think. But I would say to you, before you call me a slave to the Democratic Party or the Democrats, I would say to you, you're carrying water for white supremacists. You're a bed wench. You're a belly warmer for white supremacists. You're carrying water for a man who before the Central Park Five were even tried, called for their execution, took out ads, not one ad, a bunch of full-page ads and a bunch of papers for a long time. You're carrying water for a man who stood up in front of a white audience and asked you what you had to lose. You should ask the people who've taken bleach and hydroxychloroquine what they had to lose. They lost their lives listening to his monkey ass. You're carrying water for a man who stood before a white crowd and said he was a nationalist, which means he thinks, like so many white people, this country is theirs. They don't give any thought to the First Nation people who were living here all along. It's theirs. Because they came and they didn't see nobody. It's theirs. You're carrying water for a man who claims not to know a lot about QAnon, but they like me. So that has to be a good thing. You're carrying water for a man who claims he doesn't know who the KKK is and yet listens to them. They have even David, what's his name, the one that was a grand wizard, has suggested Tucker Carlson run as his VP. You're carrying water for a man who claims whenever he gets into a spot that it's fake news, and yet everything is being recorded, everything is being recorded, everything's being recorded. And yet we're asked to believe, like we were asked to believe in the Rodney King beating, that you can't believe what you see or hear. He stood up in front of an audience and said, what you're hearing is not really what's happening. Lying bastard. If it's fake news, then you're creating it. And I want to know how who paid $70,000 for the hair? Was it Ivanka or him? Whoever paid $70,000 for hair, you are owed $69,900 and change, because your weave is fucked up. Go to hair club. Go somewhere. I think that was one of the reasons he jumped Ivana, is because she suggested he go somewhere to get some hair plugs and they didn't work. So he jumped her and pulled her hair out. Nice man. You're carrying water for a man who's an alleged pedophile and who is probably hoping that his association with Epstein and what happened on Epstein's island. Oh, this for entertainment purposes only. And this is just my opinion. Hoping that whatever happened on that island on that fateful day will never get out. You're carrying water for a man who is not an alleged rapist. He is a rapist. You're carrying water for a man who disrespects women, especially Black women. So I would ask, who's the slave? If you were trying to escape with Harriet Tubman, she'd have to blow your fucking brains out, because you'd be the one wanting to turn back and put everybody else in danger. So we must, it's for entertainment purposes only. New beginnings. Yeah. So I want us to learn to laugh. I don't listen to him speak. I don't feel the desire to hear him speak, because we already know what he's going to do. We know he's going to lie. So you don't have to stand up and listen to him lie. I don't even know why any news outlet goes and asks him questions about anything, knowing he's going to lie about it. He said the tax stuff is fake news, and yet they're his tax documents. And I feel like Steve Mnuchin is going to get caught up in the mix, because Mnuchin has been doing his best to keep Trump's tax returns from his IRS tax returns from being shown. He's been running defense for him. So Mnuchin, I bet everybody's asshole today is tight. I can just imagine now scurrying around trying to figure out what do we do now? What do we do now? Oh, did y'all see Lady G? Did you see Lindsey Graham on Fox News begging for money? And the truest statement, he says, they hate my guts. Well, Lindsey, a lot of people do hate your guts. A lot of people do hate your guts. And maybe if you weren't such a jerk, if you yourself weren't such a liar, people might like you a little bit more. You said that you would not put forth a candidate for the bench for the federal court, the Supreme Court, in the last year of Trump's presidency in an election year. And yet, what have you done? Go away from here. You're not invited. A fly. A toxic judge who actually scolded Roberts for upholding the Affordable Care Act. Now, see, this is where you understand just how thick this cat is. He just pretty much told us why he wants her on the bench. Because she'll rule against it. He wants to humiliate President Obama. His hatred for President Obama runs so deeply that he wants to humiliate him. And what better way to do that than to have the Affordable Care Act totally thrown off the books? She would vote that way. I think that if she were to make it on the bench, she should recuse herself. She should not be allowed to rule on anything having to do with women's rights, having to do with immigration, having to do with the Affordable Care Act, any of that other crap that she's spouting. I'm trying to recall what Adrian said about separate being equal. That's talk for saying, segregation is a good thing. And his hatred runs so deep for President Obama, he's too thick to know that it's like a boomerang. It's all coming back to you. And it ain't even October yet. I'm beginning to wonder, what can we look forward to in October? We might have to ask Becca and Adrian and Johnny and ask them to get up and throw some cards on what can we expect in October. Because Daddy's week didn't start off so good. So let's not give him any more energy with our anger. Let's be angry enough to be proactive. Let's be angry enough to do something about it. Let's be angry enough to get to know our neighbors and find out if they're registered. I mean, they don't have to be as Democrats. Let's just be proactive with this thing. Georgia has a really tight race between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff. Ossoff was cheated out of his spot as a representative by Karen Handel, but she lost to Lucy McBath. So we are upholding Representative McBath to keep her seat. Representative McBath's son was a young man that was killed at a gas station because some white cat their music was too loud. He didn't like the music. So he shoots bullets into the back of the SUV, killing Representative McBath's son, and then goes out and has pizza. Yeah. So we're covering Jon Ossoff, a young man who was John Lewis's chief of staff, and who has fabulous ideas for this state and moving it forward. I'm voting. I'm going. I ain't even playing with the people. I'm going Democrat all the way. I do my best to be an informed voter. I really do. But I have not known any Republicans in this state to give a damn about anybody black in this state. I call Perdue's office so much they recognize my voice. I may not have voted for him, but all of those calls count. They have to take note that I'm one of his constituents, and I don't want him voting to get that chick on the bench. He did the same thing that Loeffler did. I don't know why I'm getting mail from her. I guess it's because she's holding Isaacson's seat, and I have sent petitions and letters and questions to her about her stuff. But both Perdue and Loeffler got money on people's pain. They were invested in pharmaceutical companies, and when the virus really kicked up, they cashed in the chips. Yeah. I see just giving props to your latest GTV. Yeah, Becca, your latest Grand Tableau, you really do a good job when you do that. I find them, troll alert. Well, let's kill the troll. Well, yeah, troll alert, because this is not, we are not friendly over here to trolls, okay? We are not friendly. We are not friendly. Oh, you already got him? Yeah, we have troll killers here. I don't mind if they say something, they need some amusement too, but we don't want it. We don't want that toxicity over here. So anyway, I guess I've chatted to you long enough. The main message is don't delay your joy. Just don't. Believe in your dreams. Believe in your imagination, because your imagination are really messages from spirit. If you can see yourself doing it, and if you can believe that you're doing it, then it's absolutely possible. There is nothing too hard for God, infinite spirit, infinite wisdom, infinite creator, infinite love. God, there's nothing too hard or impossible. We have to just go allow the flow, because I've been guilty of it. Sometimes you say a prayer, then you want to tell the universe how you want it fixed. There are so many ways that you can get your blessing. Becca, I think I made you a moderator. I think I did. I figured out that I can only, let me go back up here and see if I did that. If you don't mind, add moderator, Hassel and Normand. And I think Cappy's mom, you also wanted. I can't find you. I have to go up, see if I can find you, but I'll do it before we get off. I don't have that kind of crowd yet, so thank y'all so much for wanting to do that. And I do have Johnny and Adrian. They're really good at it. They've just been really great in assisting me and encouraging me, and I'm so thankful to you, Adrian at Red Lentil Healing and Johnny at Tarot's Apprentice. Y'all go over to their channels and show them some love. Last night's reading with Johnny, Adrian, Becca, and Jen Lynn was a whole lot of fun. It was really filled with laughs, and that's what we need now. We need some laughs, because sometimes shit ain't funny. So we need as many laughs as we can get. We really do. If you have children, give your children a hug. Even if they don't want you to hug them, sometimes they get big. They think they're too big to be coddled or to be hugged. If you're with a loving partner, you have a mate, tell them how much you love them today. Cuddle a little bit, Just make that if you're able to make that kind of human connection, then do so, because in this time when we are asked to be together and yet we're forced to be apart, I know I miss hugs. I really do. I miss the absolute warmth of being held in somebody's arms that loves me. I miss that. So if you're able to do that, I say get down, get some, Stay as close to sweet love as you can. So I guess it's been an hour that I've been on. This is your assignment, unplug from Trump. If you think about him, learn to laugh at him. If you're angry still, turn your anger into some proactive activity, because we're about 36 days out from election day. So we got to pour on the steam. Rejoice in the victory that we visualize and that we envision and that we pray over Biden and Harris. Plug into how happy you'll feel when he's announced the president of these United States. We are in a dogfight. So put on the full armor of infinite spirit of God. Put on the full armor from head to toe. And once Biden and Harris get into office, we only get one day to take a break. And then we have to get up and start kicking ass all over again, because it will not be over, because dude is out of office. He is going to kick up. He's going to do his best to stay relevant. He's going to do his best to continue to tweet and to continue to say shitty things. And we have to learn how to ignore him altogether. Don't respond to him at all. That's what we have to do. Yeah. So Johnny wants some Mary Kay. I'll hook you up, baby. I'll hook you up. I love makeup. I don't have any on today, but my mother used to always say, if you put on a little lipstick, it'll brighten your face. So I do have on some lipstick. But I am looking forward to seeing you all on Saturday, October 3rd, when we'll be at the beginning of we'll be like a few days into the Libra season. We will be partying. I'm learning how to read the cards, so I'll be studying these. And thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to come and join me. And please, by all means, I can't emphasize it enough. Go forth in joy. Go forth in joy. Thank you so much. And we'll see you Saturday. We'll see you Saturday. Oh, and the thing that we'll see you Saturday. I'm not going to tell you what we're going to talk about before Saturday. You're just going to have to come on and listen. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that got a funny text. Yes. Oh, okay. Anyway, forgive me. Thank you so much. We'll see you Saturday. Bring your party hats, bring your wine, bring your champagne. We're gonna have a We're gonna have a petty party, and wear your prettiest petty boots. See you then. Have a great evening. Peace.